Yeah, so thanks guys for coming, and for some of you for staying on from Gemma's meeting as well. So I'm just going to kind of briefly run through what Round the World Challenge is, and then if you're kind of keen to hear more, I can then stay on for the call, and it will go more into kind of the funding side and how the project will work. But so Round the World Challenge, so it's a fun physical activity challenge for people with a learning disability aged 16 plus. And it's all about the hours of activity that they do, and it takes them on a kind of a journey around the world, or around 3 different routes. So you can take part in a UK route, which is 20 hours of physical activity, a Europe route, which is 40 hours of physical activity, or a world route, which is 100 hours of activity. And the activity that people can take part in is kind of anything that is classed as a physical activity from Sport England. So it can be kind of anything from walking to kind of your tennis, badminton, football, to your golf, and then it can be your more fitness-based activities as well, so dance, yoga, keep fit. So anything counts. Participants can take part in kind of just one route if they want, or they can do all 3. And if you have a group of participants, you can, everyone can start on different routes. You don't have to all do the same route. So it's really flexible to kind of whatever suits the individual and kind of the activities that they're taking part in. Those that sign up to the challenge receive a t-shirt and a passport. So the passport inside has kind of the map of the route that they're doing, and they can also write their hours in the back of it to log what activity they've been doing. And the t-shirt they receive at the beginning, but quite a lot of people just hold on to the t-shirt and kind of give it out as a reward at some point, once they've done so many hours of physical activity. And then as people kind of progress through the challenge, they're rewarded, so to keep them kind of motivated and taking part. So they receive postcards throughout different stages. So if they're on, say, the UK route, they start in London and they go to Cardiff, and that takes 2 hours of physical activity. So once they reach Cardiff, they receive a postcard from Cardiff, and just it says well done and carry on, and they go on to their next kind of 3-hour journey to the next place. And then once they finish a route, they receive a certificate as well at the end. So in terms of the challenge, so we've been running the challenge kind of over probably the past 6 years. We started it off as a pilot, and then we've kind of expanded it now. So we are working, so I work across the south of England, and we have kind of 3 different areas we work in each year. So Sussex is one of those areas for this year, alongside so South East London and Kent are also involved in the project for this year. And we're asking, so each of those kind of areas to engage with at least 122 people with a learning disability. And yeah, they can be kind of people that you currently support, or it might be you want to engage with new people in the community, or you might offer a session already that you want to kind of engage people with. So they can come from a kind of a variety of places, but that's kind of our target number that we would look to achieve. And there's funding associated with the project, so to support people with a learning disability to get active, and kind of as a hub of partners and organisations, you would kind of apply into that funding to, so whether it's paying for an instructor to run a session, or whether it's hiring a venue, or whether it's kind of looking at support to run some online sessions. yeah, if it's buying some equipment, whatever it may be, just to support people to get active, there's that funding there to be used. And then what we kind of ask from partners who want to get involved, so if you are signing participants up to the challenge, we have an online portal that is used to sign participants up. So when they sign up, they fill out a short kind of questionnaire at the beginning, and then they can get, they can then select their route on this portal. And then what we ask of the groups is to log the number of hours on that portal for the individuals that are taking part, or there is the option for individuals to log their own hours as well if they're able to, and then the group leader on that portal just approves the hours that they've been logging. So yeah, I think that's probably where I will stop. If for people to either stay on the call or not, or if you have any questions, then kind of please do ask me at this point, and I can try and answer them, or we'll carry on kind of going into a bit more detail.
Hi Faye, it's Rachel. I've got some questions.
Yes.
Some of the like the publicity that you sent out when the Easyweed guide, is it available in? Can you send them to us as JPEGs? Because we need JPEGs to sort of put it on our social media and website if we're going to promote it.
Yes.
And are you saying that for us at the Appledram Centre, we can register a number of users on one single portal? We don't have to multi-register them all as separate individuals to access the portal at once.
Yeah, so you'd, on the portal, I'd create a group for your centre, and you'd have a group leader or a couple of group leaders who look after kind of that group on the portal, and then they would sign up individuals separately, and then you can log all their hours together.
When's the challenge got to be completed by?
So we are looking for the challenge, so for people to launch between January and March next year. So ideally, if it's a bit later, that's fine, but we're kind of looking at that time frame. And then we support for kind of a 12-month period, so from January to December next year. That's kind of, we have a delivery phase, which is that 12 months, and then from January to June the following year, we have a sustainability phase. So we look at how you can sustain the physical activity that you've been running, and then we also have some sports leadership and volunteering opportunities as well, that we look at kind of in that sustainability phase. So it's, I guess we're here for 18 months with the project and the support and funding.
Okay, thank you.
Faye, can I ask how you draw the funding down, please? How you apply for the funding?
Yeah, so there's an application form that you will kind of fill in, and there's a deadline in beginning of January to send that to myself, and then I'll look at all those applications, and that kind of, there's another hub meeting that will be in January, and we'll kind of look at the applications as all together. So anyone that's applied and interested in the challenge, we'll look at them all together and kind of sense check that everyone's happy with what people have applied for. And then, it's kind of allocated out that way. So we try and have kind of the hub kind of responsible for that funding and using it to what they feel best at a local level, and kind of have the general overview of it. And I guess we, Royal Menscap hold the money, so we make the final decisions, but we work with the hubs to kind of make best use of that that funding pot.
Okay, thank you.
Hi Faye.
Hello.
Sounds really great. I work for Brighton Hove City Council in the Healthy Lifestyles team, and we do a lot of partnership work with Grace Air, and we do work with other people outside that are living independently as well. We've been running a health walks for a couple of years now, through kind of Sports for All initially, and then we're continuing, and we were able to do it when we came out of lockdown. So I think it's something that would be great, and I'm seeing Liz Bartlett's there as well. So I just want to check. Oh, also we do run badminton and racket sports through our team at the council. So it would really be great to be part of this challenge and scheme, and you know, the whole thing. I think it's really motivating for people, and I think it, you know, I'm definitely in if there's a way. With the funding, I'm not sure if there's. Well, first of all, I don't want to talk myself out of funding. We might not need funding, do we? Or I'm working all that out, you know, because could they just be part of it? Does it cost to be part of it? And then it just kind of the stuff that they're doing, they then put into the passport and the routes. Obviously, Grace, so I don't know if there's funding available for local authority, but I don't know, obviously, if Grace Air were going to apply for funding separately. Just a couple of questions. But I think it's great, and I think it would really tie in and enhance and just add to all of the stuff that we're doing. Yeah,
indeed. I think just with, like, I guess the hub brings different partners and organisations together to hopefully kind of work together, and if they can link up and kind of run activity together and apply for funding together, then that's great. Or it might be that you don't need funding, so it can be put into existing provision, and you can look at kind of attracting new people to your sessions, or just the people who already attend can kind of, you know, it motivates them, it engages them to come to your sessions, and it makes them do more physical activity. So we're kind of we look at people who are inactive to engage those in the challenge, but also people who are already active, getting them to do more. So that's kind of how the challenge works.
I mean, it would be great to, you know, have the opportunity to bring in something else. There's always more need. So you know, I'm just kind of I'm just thinking about it. You know, I love projects and developing stuff, so there might be that we can, you know, start another project up, or would it be okay? Would I be able to apply through from the local authority?
So any kind of organisation can apply that kind of are supporting people with a learning disability, kind of age 16 plus, to be active. So any organisation can apply for the funding. There's no kind of restrictions from our end on kind of local authorities or anything like that. And if you want to kind of set up a new project or new activity, you know, the funding is there to be used to support that. And it's just
talk as well, Liz, then. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thanks.
And we just kind of ask that organisations think about the sustainability element. That's asked in kind of the application form. So, you know, when that funding comes to an end, we don't want activity to stop. It's kind of how can it be continued.
Thank you.
Great. Shall I go on? So the presentation just has a bit more on kind of the roles and responsibilities of the hub, which I have kind of mentioned a few anyway, and then looks more into the funding side. So if I kind of go through that next, and then we can kind of, ask any more questions after that, and kind of if there's suggestions on kind of what people can maybe offer for the challenge, or what they'd like to do, then we can kind of have those conversations after that. Okay, so just the role of the hub, we have gone through this a bit. So it's to identify and support a minimum of 122 people with a learning disability to take part. If you do run kind of pan disability sessions, then we don't say kind of no to people without a learning disability taking part in the challenge, so they can all take part together. we just ask that the funding is obviously used to support people with a learning disability, and there's just a small additional cost for the resources if they want the physical kind of passport and t-shirt as well. There's kind of, that would be an additional cost, but they can all take part for free because it's all on our portal, and all the resources can be downloaded and printed off and given to people that way. So it can be taken part in, yeah, for free, but people do like the resources, so they are available at a small cost.
Hey, does that include people with autism as well, being outside of learning disability?
Good question. No, probably not. We probably would include those. It's more, I guess, your physical disabilities, yeah, and sensory, but yeah, autism and learning disability is fine. Yeah, so with the project, so we're looking to launch between January and end of March if possible, and then, yeah, to continue to support people to be active up until December next year. And then, yeah, we have that sustainability phase where we support people to remain active and progress into volunteering and sports leadership. Just around kind of the launch of the Round the World Challenge, previously they have been kind of big launch events, but we understand that this year they will be different and they will be a lot smaller than what they have been previously, and that's absolutely fine. We're not asking for anything big to be done, so it might be just the first session, you launch Round the World Challenge at that and people start on their journeys. And yeah, it's completely up to organisations when and how they decide to launch. So we're not asking anything around that, because normally, yeah, we have kind of one day that everyone launches together, but we won't be doing that this year. Kind of a bit of responsibilities of the hub. So we kind of ask people to include people with a learning disability in the planning and the delivery of the project. We asked, yeah, to maximise opportunities for participants taking part in the project. So think about kind of new activities you'd like to do, or activities you can access in the community if possible, or yeah, your kind of online sessions, kind of given the restrictions that are in place. We asked the hub to provide participants for the project and or resources and activities. We ask you to be aware of the hub budget and expenditure, and then to monitor participants' progress using the online portal. So the funding side, so as a hub, you have up to £16,000 available to apply for, and yeah, to spend to support people with a learning disability to be active. The activities must either be new or supporting more participants to access existing services. The sessions can be delivered face-to-face, online, or a mixture of both. So just however you see fit to deliver the sessions. And yeah, we ask that they're kind of, all activities are kind of COVID safe and with the hygiene and social distancing and that in place. And then the funding will need to cover both ongoing activities as well as the cost of any launch and or celebration events if you decide to do those as an organisation. There's just a couple of example project proposals to what kind of you could apply for and what kind of previous partner organisations have applied for. So this organisation wanted to do some walking, so they put in for a walking instructor to run those over kind of 25 sessions. They also wanted to run just some mini tennis at the centre, so they applied for some equipment and then just the kind of PPE surrounding that as well. So kind of that's an example of one organisation. And then there's another example proposal here, which is kind of looking more at the online delivery. So they wanted to run some dance sessions, but they hadn't run any online dance sessions before. So they kind of looking at also the training side of that and the equipment, because they didn't have any. So they have, staff member to deliver some training to staff, and also people with a learning disability. They needed a Zoom account to deliver it and a tablet. So they kind of, applied for that money with it. And then I'm just going to go to kind of what we can and can't fund with the funding. So the funding, so it can support purchasing of sports equipment, it can pay for coach and instructor fees, it can go towards hiring a venue. Within reason, we'll support IT equipment to enable kind of that online delivery, and also any training that's needed around that. It might be helping people to attend physical activity sessions in the community, so we can pay towards that. There is some travel that's allowed. We do ask for a focus on public transport, but we do understand that's not always possible or available. So you can put some costs towards travel. There's some costs towards staff time as well. So to kind of set up the project or monitor the project as it goes on, we ask that's kept to a minimum if possible as well. And then if people want the resources, so they get the t-shirt and the passport, but if they wanted the physical kind of postcards and certificates, there is a small cost for that. So the printed ones, but they're all available on our portal to download as well. And then it can support towards the purchasing of PPE. And then just what it can't support is kind of any types of refreshments, other than if you did do a launch event, we can support it at that. Kind of any sessions or trips just where no physical activity takes place, and then kind of your office overheads it can't support. So we're just looking at the funding, supporting people with a learning disability to get active. So that's what we can and can't fund. And then just, I guess next steps is that kind of we asked, I can send an application form round, and that kind of needs to be submitted by the 10th of January. And then, we'll look to hold kind of the next hub meeting for those that are interested, kind of on the 14th of January. And we'll look at, those funding bids that have come in, and we'll go through kind of the portal at that meeting as well. And we'll look towards when people can start, kind of when they can launch the project as well. Does that kind of all make sense to people? Or is there any questions after what we've just been through?
Faye, can I ask how much, I mean, you may have covered this, I've dipped in and out, but how much kind of funding you'd be looking to cover per participant? So obviously relatable to, if you're going to put in a bid for around £2,000, how much or how many people would you be expecting to engage with that?
I mean, good question, because it is all different. I guess it's hard to answer that, if I am honest, Richard. I think we'd look at all the applications that come in, and with the budget that's available, if we can reach, I guess, that target, at least 122 people. We do look at, kind of how much people apply for and how many people they can support, but we realise costs are so different. if it's yeah, I guess if your group, costs might be lower because you can run sessions for more people, whereas if it's more individual access to sessions, the costs could be higher. Yeah, I can't really put an answer on it, but if you just, I think I would say just for organisations, if it's if you give the justification in your application to the numbers you're supporting, then we will kind of, you know, we'll support you as much as we can with that. We won't say, oh, you're only supporting 5 people with X amount of money. That's not enough. I think we want to get people active, so we will, yeah, try and support where necessary or where we can.
I think for us, we're definitely wanting to engage in this, and we're lucky with the Sport England funding that we've got through Menscap already.
Yeah, we'll
probably offset some of the costs, so our application could be lower too, because obviously we won't want to double funds, and we'll be able to engage people in Around the World Challenge that are coming to that project. And then we've got a couple of other things in the pipeline that we'd like to launch that maybe this funding could support as well.
Yeah.
Faye, can I ask a quick question on kind of collaboration and applications? Because obviously there might be potentially 10 organisations that apply, and it might be that some of those might be engaging or targeting the same audience. So is the hub meeting in January an opportunity for those organisations to discuss in a little bit more detail, so that any of that can kind of be reviewed, so like you say, that the funding can be best kind of placed and organisations can work together?
Yeah, I guess, either kind of, well, now if people wanted to kind of discuss maybe what they can offer, or maybe what they're looking for if they know, or kind of how the different organisations on the call could work together, or at the next meeting as well. I guess if people apply for funding and there's kind of a bit of a crossover of what people are delivering or the areas that they're delivering in, that's picked up at that point as well, because they are actually, you know, if 2 organisations have applied for something very similar, it'd be like, oh, could they work together, or things like that. But it's something we can pick up, or if it can be picked up at the next hub, or people may already hopefully be working together on stuff anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like Shani highlighted already, they work closely with Grace Air. So I'm just thinking in those instances where they might do something together, but actually Shani's probably got a group that she's working with individually, and obviously Liz, they're doing something. So they might obviously want to apply separately, but also they're going to potentially be working with the same organisations. So I suppose it's just that process of those conversations, and there's maybe going to be a sharing of the list, so that, because I guess it's not about competition, is it? It's not about organisations competing against each other for the funding. It's about all coming together as a hub. So the more that we can have that conversation, ensure we're working with each other, kind of the better, I guess. Yeah,
no, definitely. And like, if people are happy, I can share kind of people's details. So if there is anyone who wants to link up, then they can. I don't know whether would it be useful for people to kind of say where they're from and what what area they work on and what organisation they're from, just so we know, I guess, who's currently on the call. So I'm Faye from Royal Menscap and the project manager for Round the World Challenge across the south of England. Shall I pick some people? I'll pick people to just introduce themselves. Let's go. Well, Richard, let's go with you first.
Yeah, a few of you know me already. I'm Richard Denise, and representing Worthing Menscap. We run a sports club in Worthing called Sussex Seals, and works with lots of different organisations around that. yeah, in previous years, and we cover Ada and Arran as well, so that's kind of bordering Brighton, so Shoreham area, and going the other side to Littlehampton, bordering Bognor Regis. So a lot of that kind of coastal stretch.
Yeah, great. Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel from the Appledam Centre, as is Mike, he's on the call. Mike can explain his role. We're a day service, supported living and outreach service for adults with learning disabilities in Chichester area, and we've probably got about 130 people on our books that we support non-COVID times and try and support COVID times. We've got a sports hall, we've got access to an outreach facility, and this is probably about putting in something new and getting people up and out in the new year. I think we're very interested in it. In the summer, particularly during COVID, people have engaged in activities to get themselves out of the house, and I think we can be part of it.
Great, thanks Rachel. Michael, do you want to follow on from Rachel?
Yeah, so my name's Mike. So my kind of role is at the moment is kind of just encouraging people in the community into kind of keeping up exercise and increasing that up. So we've been doing lots of that. But I think this project's really exciting because it's both something we can do for those that are at the day centre and for those that are currently not back at the day centre yet or have a lot of time on their hands to really kind of, I think there's a real need for people to kind of come up with a challenge and to kind of really get involved in that. So it's a good opportunity with our new hall that's been built as well that Rachel has mentioned, that we can actually lay on some activities for people that can access those facilities in these times.
Yes, that's great. And the challenge would, as you have your own hall, it would fit really nicely. And I guess it's just a motivational tool to get people active again or to start being active. So that's great. Who else? Shani, should we, just a quick intro?
So as I said, work for Brighton Hove City Council, Healthy Lifestyles team, and that's it. I mean, outside of that, I'm also an artist and illustrator, and I'm, work separately. So I work part-time at the council, and then I have that. So I'm interested in, all sorts of things from an arts side and arts and health side as well, but as a separate person to the council. So, it's great to see everyone. Thank you.
Great. It's all right. Liz, do you want to do a quick intro?
Hi, I work at the Grace Air Foundation. I think need to obviously give it a bit more thought, but I think we'll probably use it as a tool to support people coming back into physical activity following lockdown, obviously. So that will support people within our day service, but also our community programme, and possibly even Brighton and Hove Special Olympics to get those athletes back up and running again. So a few ideas that I think we can possibly use it to support us with. Yeah,
that sounds good. We have, because we just used to target inactive people with a learning disability, but with the lockdowns that have happened, we realise actually we just want to get anyone active again. So yes, it will be great to use it to get people back and doing activity that they were doing kind of before March. So that would be great. Or was it Bob?
Bob. Yes, definitely Bob. I'm project manager at Outreach 3-Way. Part of my role is to run the Out There Sports and Leisure programme across the county. I'm sort of more interested on the Round the World Challenge for the remodelling we're doing of our service, the Outreach 3-Way service in the Crawley area. So perhaps Crawley in the mid-Sussex areas to do something up there.
Yeah, because I did speak to Alison about the challenge, but obviously, she said your circumstances had changed. But I mean, great if there's a way for you to be involved.
I think there's a way for us to do it with what we've got going on at the moment. So perhaps we can have a further conversation about that.
Great. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's great just to know, yeah, a bit more about you all. I don't think there's really much more to go through, unless anyone has any questions. But I'll send out kind of the application form for people who want to apply, and if people have any kind of want to just talk to me separately, then that's fine. I can arrange some meetings with you about the project, but I'll share kind of people's details in case anyone wants to get in contact with each other. Let me know if you don't want your contact details shared, because I won't share them, but I'll kind of send round, yeah, the form, the presentation, and yeah, contact details after the meeting for you guys.
Hey, can I just quickly ask, sorry, if the sustainability year from January 2020, 2022, does that come with funding as well? Is there opportunities to apply for funding in that year?
Yes, there is. So there's a separate sustainability pot. So this kind of, yeah, £16,000 that's available is purely for kind of delivery from January to December. Yeah, and then there's additional funding. It's not, well, it's way less than 16,000, but there is a pot of funding to help with that sustainability element.
Yeah. And does that attach to getting individuals to be sustainable themselves, or is it to get the groups to make their activity sustainable? It
could be either, depending on, I guess, where the organisation is at. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
That's all right. Bye, Nick.
Yeah, I'm from Burnside, so I run. I'm a support worker at a daycare centre. So obviously we have lots of guys with learning disability wanting to be active. So it really sounds interesting, and obviously, yeah, can't wait to sort of get all the information, because it's what I've got so far just seems a little bit not confusing, but because I haven't picked up on everything. So I'll contact you personally and then get all the info. And I can't wait to get these guys going. We actually have a football team, and I'm actually a martial arts coach anyway, so I actually do a lot of physical activity with them anyway. So we can probably, you were talking about potentially hosting stuff, so we could probably host stuff here as well anyway. So that might actually save on a bit of funding potentially. So yeah, obviously we can talk about that nearer the time. So
yeah.
All I was going to add is obviously quite a few of the delivery providers have had to leave the call, but they were obviously interested, and I think that's again where there's an opportunity to connect up with the charities and the services here. If there's anything specific, any sport specific provision that the individuals might want to get involved in, it's where we can make that kind of connection. And as you would have heard on the initial call, for those who were able to join, some of them will be continuing to do online provision as well for those. So I think there's a real opportunity here to kind of do some collaborative working.
Great. And Gemma, there's activity providers who were on the call. So it was Albion in the community.
Yeah, Albion in the community. There was a route from Sussex Cricket. There was Ricky Perrin, who was also on the call. He runs the Sussex Bears wheelchair basketball team, but he does a lot of work within the community, working with physiotherapists and other kind of services. Neil Plimmer from who runs Jolf, which is a golf kind of academy. But there are also obviously a lot of other organisations that weren't on this morning's call as well, that I think would potentially be able to support the physical activity side of it, if the service organisations need some support in that area. So I'm happy to kind of be that facilitator, once you've got those individuals and those organisations interested.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll send round, kind of all the info that you need for the challenge and for the funding side and how to apply. And I can pick up, separate conversations with those who need it. But yeah, unless anyone has any burning questions, then yeah, thanks for joining and listening about the challenge.
Brilliant. And just to be clear, as we're all part of the hub, and that £16,000 is the total for the hub, which includes 100. Just clarifying. Yeah,
so that's 16,000, to support kind of at least 122 people with a learning disability.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Cool. All right, well, thanks guys, and yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.